We're going to talk more about these press molds. You know, sometimes it's not just as obvious as pushing something into a flat piece of clay. Although, you know, even this lemon, it's pretty firm, right? So I actually could probably work this lemon by just pushing it into a flat slab. But you see how it's really hard to push in there? Doesn't want to go that deep. So if this lemon were any softer than it is, this is going to be probably not the best way to do this. But see if it'll come off, a little wiggle. There it is, it came out. So, you know, here's this little press mold, clay press mold of this lemon, you know, that I just pushed right into a slab. So that worked. But sometimes, you know, taking something, you know, thinking about the space, right? Thinking about the form and taking something that you already know how to do and kind of prepping, right? Like if I prep for the form that I'm taking a mold of. So I'm just making like a hemisphere here, right? Just like we did in the sphere assignment. Just making a little hemisphere here. All right, now this orange is kind of more soft than that lemon. So if I really tried to push it into the clay, it might not respond. So I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of both. I'm gonna push it into the clay, but then I'm also gonna push the clay around it, all right? Let me get rid of this sticker. Okay, so see how I'm making this kind of like this nest for this orange? All right. So then I'm going to kind of, now if I go beyond halfway, I'm not going to be able to get the orange out. And then when I go to make my clay positives, when I go to use this mold, I'm not going to be able to get the clay positives out, right? So you have to be smart. I mean, you can go beyond halfway and then kind of open it up, but you know, you can't really get more than half of the form here. I'm gonna have to open it up. I might have went a little bit past halfway and it's kind of sticking, so I'm just kind of gently opening this. That little wiggle and it popped out. So I've got all that nice orange peel texture. I've got the detail of where the branch was, you know, that connected to the fruit. So that's pretty cool. I like that one. I'm gonna let that dry. So, I mean, you can think of anything like that's a pretty kind of an iconic form, right? Especially that detail at the top. It's more interesting than the detail at the bottom. The side of the can isn't that interesting at all. You know, think about, okay, you know, I've got this much clay. You know, how do I want to use my clay to best fit the space that I'm molding or the form that I'm molding? You know, how much clay do I really need to get the information that I want, you know? I'm actually going to use some cellophane for this one. And I'm actually going to, well, I can just set it down. Push this can right into that. And kind of push the clay around it. So there's that negative of that. Could do an apple. I could do just about anything. You know, the other thing that you can look at as well is you could look at your body, you know, like what happens. Elbow's not terribly detailed, but it is pretty detailed, actually. It is specific in its own form. So if you were to make a bunch of elbows and hang them on the wall, I bet you somebody could recognize it. You know, that's the other thing is some of these things that you make molds of, if they're just totally not recognizable, sometimes they are not as effective. All right, I know that doesn't look like anything, but it might look like an elbow when we push clay into it. It doesn't look like anything right now. It kind of lacks some of the things over here. It lacks some details, right? All right, so that is Simple Clay Press Mold video 2.